Okay, I think I should have sound now. Okay, um, I think I should have sound. One of the viewers just called me to let me know that there was no sound. I'm sorry for that break in transmission, but I think I'm back. And okay, it seems as though everything I said you didn't understand, you didn't get it. But I was saying that tonight is going to be. Um, Let me just make sure that there is sound. Let me just go back to my audio and test my sound. Audio mic testing 1 2. Okay, there is sound now. I guess there is sound. There is sound. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that tonight is going to be uh, very interesting tonight. No guest on the show tonight, but my colleague Jima Kamara is going to be joining me during the course of the program. Besides that, we're going to be discussing a host of issues. We're going to discuss all of the politicians whose names come to our mind. If Mr. Cummings' name come, we discuss him. We talk things about him. If Mr. VP Bwaka name comes, we'll talk about him. If Councillor Gongo's name comes, we'll talk about him. Everybody. And, the interesting thing is that all of these are political actors. Those are political actors in our political arena. And, there is no way where somebody can divorce them from what's happening, and there's no way that somebody can build a blockade around them that they shouldn't be discussed. I was somewhere and a group of Unity Party supporters were saying, "Oh no, you can't talk about JMB." Hey man, JMB is not one small potato sitting there somewhere in the corner. JMB is not just one little picking. So JMB wants to be president. In fact, this man was vice president before. So if you look at all of the people running in the race, besides President Weah, who is the incumbent right now, GMB is next in line in terms of weight, political weight. So for somebody to say, "Oh, don't talk about JMB," something must be wrong with you. If JMB doesn't want to be talked about in politics, the JMB should just as well wrap up and say, "Well, I have given up my political ambitions. I don't want to be anybody in Liberian politics. Let me live a private life. I've done what I can do." Then, of course, if anybody will go after JMB or talking about him, then you really in a Liberian way, you really picking force on the old man. But while he's staying in the race, guess what? All politicians, all public figures around the world, not only politicians, but as long as you come in public glare, as long as you come to the public, my friend, people will talk about you. And you don't expect everybody to say the same thing about you, positively or negatively. Why you have people say negative things about you, you have people saying positive things about you. And in fact, you have people who take a neutral role that will not say anything good about you or that will not say anything bad about you. So this is it. And I think politicians calculate this. All politicians are vulnerable to public ridicule. All politicians are also prone to praises. So it's both ways. You can say I'm the one praises and not condemnations or criticisms. No, it's not possible. So, our United Partisans out there, United Partisan friends out there who feel that JMB should be shielded from all forms of discussion, criticisms, and whatever, you should only praise him. My friend, you're living in La La Land. And the next thing again about the United Partisans that I see out there is that the moment you differ with them, if you don't express support to JMB, if you don't praise him, you are termed as unpatriotic. You are not good person. Hey man, it reminds me of the early days of the CDC, where citizens were all over the place. If you do agree with them, then you are enemy of the state. They blended a lot of people enemy of the state, and today most of the people they blended enemies of the state are people who support them now and who they are welcome. So I don't know when did they become friends of the state. But this is Liberian politics. When I supported JMB in 2020, in 2017, I was not bad person. I was good person. When Costa supported him, Costa was not bad person, Costa was a good person. But today, go and see all the nasty things they write about Costa. In fact, just Telia Ure has begun their latest victims after they have castigated Costa and Ure and all the people, that the disunity partisans can even have the guts to open their mouths and say they're criticizing people like Benona Ure or the Ures for that matter for GMP business. This is and this is something that I grapple. I try to wrap my head around. I mean, just a few months ago, JMB was seen on a private jet with Benona Ure going to Nigeria, where they spent almost a week and a half or 2 weeks maximum. And at whose expense? Benona Ure expense. Okay? Telia Ure was involved because she was posting while that trip was on. And I believe that it was the Ures that wrote the cost of that particular trip. The plane fare, hotel bills, food and everything, lodging. Then the United Partisans, in fact, I will not say United Partisans, some funny people who don't even know their hair from their toes, they say they support GMB, they come into bad mouth the Ures, Telia especially. This is the highest, one of the highest degrees of ungratefulness, that I have seen. But again, this is Liberian politics, so there is nothing, just nothing we can do about it. There are people in a game that don't understand anything. All they know, they support somebody. And of course, the things it goes around. It's in the CDC, it's in the UP, it's in the ANC. Some people just support. All they know, they'll support. No matter what happens, they'll support. But let me see if I can share the show. To my contacts, I'm finding it a bit hard to do that. So if you're there, you can yeah, fine, good. But I want to see if I can share the show. Where do I find it? On my own page. It's on my show. It's on my page too. But how do I see it to share? Is another problem, But I will try. Don't worry. I will share the show here. But you can share the show also. For those of you just joining us, this is the program, The Bottom Line Liberia. We come to you every Tuesday and Friday. Okay, here is it. I'm going to share it again. I'm going to share it to all of my contacts. So, welcome. If you just joining us once again, let me say welcome. This is the Bottom Line Liberia. Tonight we're having a free flow discussion. We will be talking about all of the politicians tonight. My friend or my co-host Jamal Kamara is going to be joining me pretty soon. As soon as he said he will join me, and we'll discuss everybody. You like it, you don't like it now, business. We'll discuss. Let me tell you, we are in a political season. We are in a political season, and few days from now, today is what? Today is the 12th of September. So we got only, I say the time goes fast. We got only 32 more days to go. Can you imagine? A few months ago, we were talking about, in 2023, that was in 2022. So 2023, then we entered 2023. Then we started counting the days. Now, in fact, we started counting the months. But now, what are we counting? We are counting the days. And pretty soon, we will be counting the hours. So time goes so fast. And for those of the politicians or the parties that feel that, we're feeling winning, they think for us, people are coming there, nobody know them. People like Councilor Gonglo, nobody know them. People like Dr. Moniva, nobody know them. We are feeling winning. Let me tell you one thing. There will be surprise. I don't want to say surprises, but there will be one big surprise. And that one big surprise is what? People will be shocked. How will people be shocked? They'll be shocked because what they expected is not what they will see. And this is no magic. It's simple. There is a saying that you cannot make your pig fat on the market day. And sometimes people take it for fun, but it's true. You cannot make your pig fat on the market day. You waited until you're not feeding the pig until when you know that the market day is near. Then you start stuffing the pig with food to get fat. No, it will not get fat. Hmm? You should have started feeding the pig. You should have started feeding that pig long since. And what am I saying? How can I apply it to the political season in Liberia? There are some people who feel that, oh man, we finished winning. They think, yeah, we were there before. They think for us. Look at we get people, all the voters that voted for us last year or last elections, we kept them in the fort, we lock it up, that number is still safe. So all we need to do is open it and carry it to the elections commission, and then they start counting. My friend, you waste your time. Elections, as people say in Liberia, is normal. Now, the thing about the number is that the number is not stable. The number can shift depending on the way you act, depending on the way you behave during the electoral period or the campaign period. So those of you who believe that you got your number sitting somewhere and that number waiting for you, my friend, you'll be shocked. Because imagine that the people who voted for you last year or last election, let me not say last year, but last election, some have died, some have shifted to other political parties, some are incapacitated in several ways, some, by means of sickness or anything. Some have even traveled from Liberia. So, and some have become so old to the point where they can't vote again. They're able to move. So if you would sit down and believe that the same people who voted for you 6 years ago are still the same people, well, you must be living in some dream world. You must have something else that you're depending on, but not those people. Like I said, you must have something else that you depend on. Now, it can't be those people. Let me tell you, in politics, in Liberia, especially in Liberia, I can vote for you today, and then tomorrow I change my mind. So if you can't vote tomorrow again, you might not see me. And I don't think it's only in Liberia. It may be all over the world. Voters are not stable people. Okay? Yeah, you may have people who are committed to a particular political party, right? But the voters, they are floating population. My friend, today they can vote for you, tomorrow they can change their mind. Example, me, last elections, I voted for JMB, Joseph Boakai against Weah, because I felt that between the two, JMB was vice president, so he knew something about governance, even though not good governance, but he had been there before. It's like the old people say when you planting the mat, you can plant you can use the old mat to plant the new mat. As example. So Weah, who just came from the football field, will just stay on his boots compared to a Joe Boakai who had been in government before I was born. I made a good decision to vote for GMD in the past elections. But fast forward 6 years after, so somebody again who I feel has the requisite experience. It may not be in government, but in management, because government is all about managing. My friend, if you say the public sector experience is different from government, I would say it's a big lie. In fact, the public sector experience is better than government, especially government in Liberia. I'm a Liberian. I know the governmental system. How people take government to be just what we so call, government boom. And nobody cares for government. If you give me a new government car today, I'll drive it until all of the bearings wear out, or gaffing, for instance, I'll park it somewhere, or I can hit it on something with all the mark on it. I said, that government property. You cannot do that in the public sector. No. In the private sector, you can't do that. Okay? My experience from Liberian government activities can tell me that Liberian government experience is not anything better than the private sector. Nobody can tell me that. Not one person. I will doubt it. I will even argue you. Okay? Because why am I saying this? The thing is, we all know that people do not respect government thing in Liberia, government property especially. People do not respect government job. If you're working for government, you can go to work anytime, especially if you are at the top there, like one director or some assistant minister or some deputy minister or the minister proper. You're not questionable to anybody. In fact, if the president, if your current president doesn't go to work, he stays at home, he makes music, merry make drinks. You're talking about government ruling 5 million people. Then you will sit down to your house and be drinking and singing. And so who the criminals out there, who's seeing after them? The drugs, people that are smuggling drugs in, who's going to be monitoring? I'm not saying that the president should be sitting at every border point monitoring all these things. The president should be in the street looking for criminals. No. But the president should be active, very proactive. The president should be there to say, look, Mr. Minister of Justice, you need to make sure that no drugs enter this country. So the Minister of Justice will look over his shoulder and see that the president is watching him, and so he will move. But here's the Minister of Justice, and just using the Ministry of Justice or the Minister of Justice as example. The Minister of Justice looks around, the president is starting office, the president lying at home and drinking and smoking and dancing. So the minister said, but what am I have my hand for? So you see where the bad governance, the bad example from the public sector comes in. So the minister said, me too, I gotta go, I need to go to my farm, or I need to do something, I need to attend my daughter's birthday. Then the Minister of Finance, collect all the money, nobody telling him what to do. I'm not saying the Minister of Finance is responsible for collecting money, but the financial burden lies on the Minister of Finance. That's why they make it Minister of Finance, Planning and Development. Long time it used to be Minister of Finance, then we have Minister of Planning and Development different, but now they combine everything. So, sorry. So the minister is responsible to coordinate the financial affairs of the country. But if the minister is not being pushed, the minister looks around, he finds out that the president does not care, there is nothing to compare him to work, he will be lackadaisical. So then you see, unlike the private sector, that every function in that sector is important. And I hear people argue, oh, man, Cummings come from what? The private sector. And Coca-Cola was set before Cummings went there. Yes. Who told you that Coca-Cola was not set? Coca-Cola was planned. Everything was good. Everything was working functionally before Cummings went there. And when Cummings got there, he kept Coca-Cola working. In fact, improved it from one stage to another. That's why he got promoted. So imagine if Cummings was a bad manager, if Cummings was this person that Liberian people believe is not qualified, is not a good manager, don't you think Coca-Cola would have broken down? And just imagine, we're talking about worldwide business corporation, a business that supplies the entire world. So if Cummings was really at the top there, responsible for certain important function, if he was a bad manager and one day he didn't manage well, he made a mistake, imagine. Okay, let me just give a simple example. Let's say Cummings was responsible for bottling all of the Coca-Cola. And by bottling, for those of you who don't know, who don't understand what we mean by bottling, that he was responsible to, I'm just saying example, I say that what you're doing. Let's say Cummings was the one who was supposed to be making sure that all the Coca-Cola go in the bottles to be distributed. And Cummings made mistake. He's not a good manager, he made a big mistake. That the whole Coca-Cola bottling, the people who can put the Coca-Cola water in the bottle to send it to other country, they start working because Cummings made one bad mistake. Send you say you're not qualified. You know what happened? Just one hour time. In 1 hour time, Coca-Cola will lose a lot of money because they will not be able to put the Coca-Cola in a bottle to sell it because one made mistake. But this man worked in his place for all those years and he managed the functions well, the financial aspect well. Nobody put handcuff on Liberian people. Let me tell you, that one thing you are very good at. People are good at getting information. You say, oh, Musa Belete that role. Musa Belete stole FIFA money. You're beginning FIFA, you're responsible for FIFA now. How you know Musa Belete stole FIFA money. And it came from FIFA. Fine. What if Cummings has stolen money from Coca-Cola? You'll not be talking around today, but none of you can point finger and say this. You say Cummings that gay. You can show Cummings girlfriend or Cummings boyfriend. You're more talk. But because you got nothing to say about the man. So you say, oh, Coca-Cola was functioning before the man went there. Ellen Johnson set up the Liberian government good after the war, at least. She may not have done 100% well, but she set up a system. She left a system in. George Weah was a bad manager. When George Weah came, what happened? All of your suffering. You're crying all over the place. Yeah? So this is the example of bad manager, of bad management. Where the system is functioning, then you bring somebody new in who was supposed to take the system from that stage where it is or where he made it to another stage to improve it. But if he doesn't do it, and then the system begins to depreciate, to collapse, that's bad management. So your argument that, oh no, Coca-Cola was a functional system, everything was set before Cummings went there, so Cummings do nothing. So if Cummings has been a bad guy, or bad management, I'm not talking about a bad person in terms of behavior, but bad management, a bad manager, somebody who cannot manage. What would have happened to Coca-Cola? Coca-Cola will be broke or closed down by now. I mean, we've seen several big companies close down because of bad management. So what I'm saying is that the argument about Cummings does not have experience, okay, does not suffice. And you know why? Like I told you, government in Liberia is the worst place to even think that if you have experience in that Liberian government, it's a good experience. I mean, on a very good note, take JMB and carry into, don't go far play. Do not go far play. Right there in Liberia, carry JMB to Red Cross, international, the RCRC, or carry him to Médecins Sans Frontières, or carry him to somebody overseas organization as former vice president. And people are right there in Liberia, they will say, well, they made our former vice president. They will look at his record. They will look at the Liberian government record. They will not even accept a CV. You know why? It's because the government of Liberia is not a place to come from with any CV. That's a charter organization. Imagine your president, somebody you voted for to lead you, is at home, drinking, smoking, dancing, making music, and the whole country is on its own. You're operating on autopilot. The whole country, under the Jovia government, the whole country is operating on autopilot. You're driving yourself anywhere you enter that A. Nobody controlling you. The president only working for a paycheck more, and in fact, the guy takes pay every day. Can you imagine? Huh? But then you call yourself a country, and you think you can decide who will lead you, who will not lead you. Huh? I find it disturbing, I really find it disturbing. But again, this is Liberia. So this argument about Cummings has no experience in government, this is false. Experience in the private sector, especially at the highest level, where you have become a manager. No, I'm telling you. I worked in Liberia as a journalist. I came to Europe. I have worked in various sectors, down to being a carpenter. So I know, I got experience in various sectors. I worked in a building construction company. I work in logistics, where we provided building materials to building construction companies. Okay. Presently, I work in the government of Norway. Presently, I'm a member of the second largest political party in this country, the local branch in my community. So I know what government is all over the world. And I have worked in the private sector as well. So I know now I work in the government. I'm supposed to go to work at a certain time. I can take a phone and call my boss and say, oh, you know what happened? I got a small problem, but I'll be coming later. My boss said, okay. And I'm not saying that this cannot happen in a private sector, but it's very seldom. Because imagine that I am responsible for one department. And then I'm calling and say, I can't come to work today because, so if I don't have really good reason to do that, but I just want to maybe be late or, you know, what effect would that have on that department? And like here in Norway, people do overly employ, okay? Very functional company, you see few people working because the reason is they pay you good, one, and two, since they pay you good, they don't want to divide your pay, among several people, because the more people you employ, the money that you have to pay the employees good, that money will be now shared among several people, okay? That money will be now be shared among several people. So what happens? Your pay will be decreased because you have several people working. And I think about Liberia, where you got a minister. No. The minister too big. Leave the minister. But you got one director. The director gets secretary. Then the director gets somebody who can sit down to the door to watch if somebody coming in to ask them who you going to visit. Then the director get bodyguard. Then the secretary get assistant. And so imagine my co-host Jamal is in the background. Jamal knows how to get on. He will get on as soon as he gets ready. But so if you have all these people working in one small office with a small budget, what happens? You spread almost somebody doing nothing. And this is not peculiar to Liberia, right? I will give you a little story about the Philippines. The Philippines is a developed country more than Liberia, but on the international scale, they are still developing country. So I go to this office, and this is how I got to know. In fact, not to that office, but I had gone. I was staying in this hotel, and every morning I see two, 3 guys. One that's security, and the guy with double barrel gun, double barrel gun, long range, standing at the gate. Then you got 2 extra guys, so there are 3 guys not at the gate but the door, just the door to the entrance of the hotel, right, to the receptionist. So I see this guy standing every day. So I'm like, what's happening? Because I don't see any physical threat, though. So one day, and they're very friendly people, the Filipino, they are very friendly people. So I was coming and the guy said, good morning, sir. I said, good morning. I said, what you guys doing here? He said, we are working. I said, but and you, who are you? He said, I'm supposed to open a door. I said, but what about you? He said, yeah, we're doing the same thing. I can open a door for you also. And I asked the guy with a big gun, I said, what are you doing here? He said, my company sent me a security company. I said, so who are you shooting? He said, I'm not shooting nobody, but we're supposed to be here. I said, but then why are you here? He said, because that might work. So I tried to open the door, the door just to push up. And the other boss said, no, sir, we can. So I said, you don't have work to do at home? He said, no. I said, you got family? He said, I have a wife and 2 children. I said, so what is your wife doing? He said, my wife at home, and so I can't work. I said, but can't you find anything else to do? He said, no, this is a job I do. So I said, but you know why I'm asking you? He said, no. I said, I'm asking you because I would a customer living in this hotel, right? I got 2 hands, 2 feet, just like you. I can push this door open and I can go in and come out. So why would you want to open for me? And also the same thing at the supermarket. You go, you buy, even buy one candy, they get one guy there who will wrap it. Okay? Somebody there to ring it on the cash machine, and the other guy is just there to wrap it for you. So I was like, wait, hold on a minute. You mean I cannot wrap my own item? Because like in Norway, yeah, we don't do that. In Norway, yeah, you almost do everything yourself. You go, you take your item, you bring it, you put it on the counter. When the finish pricing it, you pay, you go, you take it and put it in your plastic, they start moving. Okay, so why it doesn't take anything from me as an individual. So okay, imagine that I buy this item from the supermarket. You got somebody there who will wrap it for me, and I take it and carry home. Why the person can't take it and go put it in my car? Or if I get home, Is the guy going to take it from my car and carry it home and unwrap it? So I don't understand it. Out there where you got somebody, you take somebody from your house, you can put this poor ball here, wrap it in one candy for me, or candy that I will take home and I myself have to wrap it. So I got this experience. I used to work, which I still do. I used to do a part-time job at a flower company where we sell flowers and all that thing. And this lady came to buy the flower, and she had to buy some dirt that she would use to bag of dirt that she would use to plant the flower, right? And I saw this only she's very old. So she needed like 10 bags of flour, of flour dirt, and some of these things weighed like almost 4-5 kilos. So when they already paid in the cash, then I saw she was going to, she was driving this old lady, very old. So I followed her outside. Then I asked her, can I help you? She said, no. I said, why? She said, because I came to buy. I said, but I can help you. She said, but if you help me, are you going to go back to my house and help me to even play, to take it from the car and put it down there to play? And then I laughed. Then it makes sense. So in Liberia, it's a scene. The reason I'm telling this story is that in Liberia, people depend solely and wholly on government. And this is not anything good because you got one office, you got 20 people working in that office. Some people doing literally nothing. Some people doing literally nothing. So you put strain on the economy. They see, because these people are now working for a different entity that will bring in money to the government, because by right, government should just be the enabler of companies to come, so that when those companies come and work, the companies will pay tax, the workers will pay tax to government, and that's how government generates most of the money. Okay, so but you got to see government employing everybody. When the government pay you, then they take a small money they pay you as tax. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. So this thing about government experience in Liberia is nonsense to me. Because the thing is, you in government, you don't respect anything in the first place. You don't respect time. You don't respect government properties. People can steal and go away, especially Liberian government. So is that a good place to come from with any experience and people boast of it? Well, tomorrow when you get ready, just let me know. Tonight we're doing free flow. We're discussing free topics. Anything that comes to mind, we're discussing. Right now, I'm talking about people who say that Mr. Alexander Kwame is now a good president, or he's not ready for a Liberian government, or to be president because he's not working government, he got experience in government. Now, I'm just evaluating what is government in Liberia. How?
Moving forward. They have to hang on something. When you talk about that, they have to hang on something as an excuse, which is something that you're addressing right now. Because the part of the matter that if they've got nothing to hold on, and Mr. Kwame has repeatedly said, compared to other candidates, he has nothing like any record in terms of favor. If you look at the past of Unity Party, they were there for 12 years. You saw what we've seen. And majority of an empty coffers, not only there are other things that came along with it. Georgia didn't have a record to prove anything. Now for the past 6 years, it was like he has a record that he can go for. So show me what you can show. You can tell me about some Cummings. Yes, I co-caller as a corporate executive, show all positive stuff. Somebody had to say something negative about him. That's the reason. Somebody had to say something negative about him. That's all they hold on to. But there's no substance in that statement, my brother. There's no substance.
You said it right, Jima. But you see, because the thing here is, look, what puzzles me about these people is somebody say, yeah, Mr. Kwame is qualified, but it's not his time. Amen. So, and this brings me to, I've always said it, but maybe people don't know this. They think I'm sick. Because I say, Liberian people say they don't know commies. In that time here. But if I'm sick and I live in this town, all the doctors in the town have tried the medicine they can't heal me. Then strange man come. The strange man say, I can heal you, I get the medicine. So you think I'll tell him, say, but man, go, I know you. I've never known the people. I want the people who know me to make medicine when they can't heal me. So you say you know these people that have been making you to suffer all your life. Then somebody can say, no, listen, this system here, we can fix it. we can make it work differently. So I think I can make it. He said, no, we know you in our time. You know the people who know who wanted to, but the people cannot heal you, they cannot help you. So you want to die in a sickness simply because you don't know the new doctor that came who says he can help, and you know that he can help. You say, yeah, my man, I know you can help me, but you know, in your time you go wait until I get to know you. Why are you dying? Does that make sense? You are muted, Jima. You are saying muted. I think you got problem with your sound. Try to sort of your sound thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now a little bit lower, but okay.
Much better, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm trying to say, well, one thing you should also understand, Linfo, is in Liberia, we don't look at the what the candidates are bringing in. We're looking at the emotions, the sentiment attached to most of the candidates coming in. Relationship is also involved. So we pick people on what we like. We just see somebody say, I like this person, I'll vote for the person. Look at looking fixture. Person could be charismatic. Looking at the person, I like you, I'll vote you, but can the person deliver? We don't see that. That's the mistakes we've been having. Joe Weah was the most liked person ever. I've said it over on the platform to be a president of Liberia. But the question is, he did not deliver. And many people are sitting there saying, well, we are forced to go out there and support him because some of us, if we don't do, we'll lose our jobs. Our very connections with our family members that are working, they'll lose their jobs. And I know what I've understood also is that when they're having these campaigns, rallies, there are people that are taking names of officials, government officials, and government agency staff that are not showing up. So at the end of the day, you'll be marked down to be sacked. We've seen it pass in the past times where events where people show to other political party rallies, they got sacked immediately the next minute. So this is what happened. You don't have the right to freedom to associate to any political party. So when after the election right now, you have to be forced to become CDC or your job is hanging. That's the situation we're going through. But now people will be voting for him because they just want him to be there. And they just like him. They don't like him because they want to keep him there, but going through the suffering. Liberians are not stupid. They know what they want. But the situation putting against the wall right now to put this guy back if they want to, it's just because of the conditions, not like because they're enjoying he has delivered. You know, all those promises he gave, we know that he didn't deliver anything. I don't know, people go out saying that, oh, he's delivered, he passed, yes, show record that he can do another 6 years to show that he's doing. What has he done? The first record didn't show anything good. Why should you go for him? But in any case, once you should always understand, people that are going out there, millions of people are showing that Liberian, they want to see him as their president, right? Except he's been there for 6 years, 2, 3. The people will decide when they get to the ballot, that ballot paper, they will decide. It's not all that show up, they're going to be voting for him. So that shouldn't work. Oh, they may got a crowd. We've seen that a lot of time. And at the end of the day, we know people being shown very representing elections. We see people pull out thousands of crowd voters. You just got to show you that this guy is going to win. You know, the person will even come third or fourth in those very elections. The person that did not pull the crowd will be coming the first or second. We've seen it in many occasions. The past December elections, we've seen it. Who knew that this guy in District 5, T5, will have not won District 5 with the amount of money he spent and the people he pulled out, the kind of promises he made. I mean, those guys were like, there was a showcase that he would have won an election. The one who Dillon won. So this is what we're saying. So people say, oh, the guy campaign, really pull crowd. It's not what we're talking about. Get to the people, get the hearts and the minds of the voters, and they will vote for you. But the good thing about it, that's why it's a secret ballot, Linford. The people will decide what they want. And we've seen the suffering enough. I think they will decide right.
Your sound is gone again. Yeah, but I think you're right. You're right. But again, you know, that's a slippery slope to walk on. To believe that sometimes if people do not, or people who pull the crowd usually do not win. No. The political environment in Liberia is one that people cannot really trust. Some people, like you correctly said, some people will say, oh, Mipa, I'm only waiting on election day. And when they get to that booth, they will make a decision. that they are not even planning to make many years ago. Some people waiting to see who's pulling the most crowd. Then they say, okay, I think everybody's supporting John Brown. That John Brown I'll go for because that's what everybody wants. You know, so our political environment is very, very vulnerable to all sorts of things. You got voters whose minds are unstable.
Yeah.
They are like they act on instinct.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, they act on instinct. Somebody will say, "Oh, I was trying to support Mr. Cummings, but the way I see Mr. Moniba pulling people like that, I think let me just
That carry away easily.
let me just go to Mr. Moniba." Can you imagine? So it is you're right. The crowd does not normally determine the winning, but again, in a gullible society like ours, it's very hard to see or that these people could be chanting. There is something I heard a few days, I got sick, where people say, we want, that Kush we want. That Kush we
Where
want.
did you hear that? That's unconstitutional change.
That was one of the chants for seditions. That Kush we want. Can you imagine? And you know this Kush is a dangerous drug, it's killing your people. Yet you say that's why you will vote these people.
Kush, you mean the drug, you mean? I thought okay, Kush.
No. The drug, the KUSH.
Yeah,
I
the
know
one
that's the right name.
They said, yeah, that's right. The K, I think KUSH. Kush.
Yeah. They say that Kush the one. But that equates to the slogan we heard in 2000 and in 2000 and what 2000 and what was that?
2016.
1997. That was 1997. You came my mind, came my back.
I was for 2016 when they said that whether you know but you don't know, but I'll vote for you.
Yeah, that was 2017. Where you know, but I'll vote for you. And now they are saying, even if you die, you in a casket, we'll vote for you. Then the other people say that Kush we want. We don't want good government. We don't want change. That Kush we want.
But listen, Linford, it has a derogatory part of it. The sad part of it, they're saying that you already spoil our life, keep us going spoiled. Don't say it as a positive thing, though. You're looking at, look, you already brought drugs into this country. We have addicted to it. We are addiction. We are addicted to drugs. So let's keep living on drugs. We don't have any more future. It's a sad story. It's the saddest thing to think about. Don't see it as a positive thing. It's not positive. It's like Kush is, you never heard of Kush. There were other drugs in Liberia we did not know of. What make it popular? Unfortunately, our people are turned to, most of our youth are turned to zombies, living zombies. And this is what we want to change because they're living zombies. They don't have anything. They'll feed on it. There are people that saying that if you look at now, the youth are coming out to be very, very outspoken. Recently, in any election I've ever seen in my life, where they talk about their lives are being, what their lives are being messed with because of somebody brought in Kush or somebody brought in other easy getaway drugs to get in addicted to it. So they'll carry their minds away. Somebody told me something about the situation in this old guy told me something about the DRC. They now call it Zaire. Used to call it Zaire. They call it the Democratic Republic of Congo. The late Mobutu Sese Seko, what he did, he was a very flamboyant and rich guy. What he did with the people in that country before he passed was he got himself involved into every quarter has their own orchestra band. So if you look at it comparatively, where in Africa, before country like Nigeria, Ghana coming up to become one of the best Afrobeat, hey, we have Sukus, Rumba, all those names, so big names, African beat you could come. It was from DRC. Congo was one of the best in Africa at the time. So what they invested into those quarters and got them into these social life. So the Zaire was 80% of youth were in most of organizing, dancing, culture. So they forgot about politics. So he put too much money into the communities. Social life was a bigger thing for them. So they don't worry about. Once they enjoy life, they're having a beer, they well beer. You say they sape things. Sape, you know what I mean? Best dress. In Africa, DRC is one of the best. You see a man will be well dressed from head to toe, well matched. He walk on the street, just get recognized. That's what he want to do throughout his life to get attention. But now, what is happening all the time he's spending on his life, on his body, is now he doesn't care about the politics anymore. So his mind's been carried away. And this is what happening. That's what's happening in Liberia. They took the brought in the kush, all the drugs, those cheap, dangerous drugs that health hazards into the country where the guys will get involved. So where the mind, the right mind will go vote. After all, he's worried about getting more cushions about it than worrying about vote. That's the saddest thing we have, Linford. It's a sad story for us. It's a very sad story for us. And now the government coming into power, George Weah is got removed. The government has a serious job on hand. We need a proper rehabilitation, mental rehabilitation center. I call it mental asylum. We need that in our country. A proper mental asylum. It's not a joke. The proper rehabilitation of our people. I mean the generations that are involved in it right now. After the 14 years of war, we had this issue or developing the mental issue from the war. Now we add another issue to our war. Then the sky is still growing bigger and bigger from the war to another drug addiction. You see what I mean? If you can't get, it's a sad story, Linford.
There is something that I'm thinking about. After the 14 years of war, right? We had something that people were suffering from. That was the armed robbery. Because the guys that were disarmed, some of them had some guns from somewhere. They hid it, and so in the night they would pick it up and harass people. Because for the past 14 years, this is what they were used to.
Yeah.
I remember some of these guys used to be at the gate. When you're walking, before you cross that gate, they will harass you. Broad day. They will take all your clothes, they will check your underclothes, and check everywhere on you to make sure if you have anything, they take it. So when they disarm these guys, this is the lifestyle they have been used for 14 years. So they had nothing else to go to but to resort to the same harassment.
You know
this
why?
Time in peace, this time in peacetime, they were going out at night, putting people at gunpoint, killing people, taking their things. Now, then I think we transcended that. Then we enter a new stage of drugs. And this one is even worse because this drug, when they take it, they got no feeling for anybody. They become like, just ordinary, some supernatural being that they overlook everything, whether danger is coming to them, they don't know. So they will go and even hijack people. If you refuse to get them what you got, they will wound you just because the drug, it demands that they must have it. So what I'm thinking about is, what do you think? Like you because you spoke about the rehabilitation or the mental asylum stuff. You think the drug, even if we try to cleanse these guys from the drug, don't you think it will have some other adverse effect? Are we going to have more crazy people? Are we going to have more mentally deranged people walking around the place? Well, what's going to happen? What do you think?
Yeah, Linford, you see, it's as a nation, it takes time to heal, right? These 14 years of war was a serious issue, and we got from the Ellen government to George Weah government will have done much for our people. But now we should be in the process of healing. I mean, they are triple RC or triple R. We got reconstruction, reconciliation, reconstruction, and rehabilitation. It was not properly put into place first. When you go through a situation like what we had in Liberia, more money should be invested into working on the minds of the people, bring it back to their real minds. A lot of things have happened. People were victims. People were not who were involved in it. They were the corporates and victims. Two set of people we got involved, and people who witnessed it, they become victims. People who did the job with the corporate. Now, if the government turned their back on those stuff, they got a serious issue. They think the government was not well putting money into investing into the working on the minds of the people. So from the 6 to 12 years of Ellen, because Ellen came into power to lay the foundation where a proper leadership, a proper a structure will come in place, where she will lay a system in place. But now, if she did not put much time into it, she do things with lip service paid to these rehabilitation of our people, then we this is why we don't have a complete system. Of course, it would take time. It take years for scout of such in our country to kill or to get away, but it will still be there. So if they are putting enough investment or time or effort into building rehabilitation of our mind for now after 14 years of war, and put in a proper place, providing job for those people that right now call the disadvantaged youth, and also making a system like you all benefit, not to give it to your relatives. I mean, I'm not saying we won't have an issue. It will be more lesser than it will get lesser than what we're in today. We'll be looking at today. It did not work that out. What they did was they just paid lip service, call out for, today when you call out for international community, tell them, look, because of that 14 years of war, the country develops scar, mental scar, a lot of things happen. So we want to build this, we want money. Billions of pounds or US dollars will be invested into the money for the fact that they want to help the minds, because you're saying that generation are coming that have been affected, you want to build them up. So what I'm trying to say, the government did not put more effort into working on this rehabilitation. Now the government that coming to power has a serious job at hand. 14 years of war, including another 6 years of drugs addiction. What they did, they kind of infiltrated our communities, our villages, our towns with drugs. So they're taking the minds of our people. So it will have a side effect. It has a adverse effect, but it will take years before it works. It got away. But definitely we got to work on it. That's one thing we need to do. That's one thing we need to do.
Check your sound.
Yeah. I was just saying. I say we need to work. It will take years to work on the side for the adverse effect, but the government has to put it as a priority on their list to make sure that the citizens themselves have major issues. Should be rehabilitation, mental asylum should be created. It sounds like craziness, but if you look at it, it has to be worked on, or else Liberia have a serious issue in terms of resources development, human resource development. Because if you cannot develop the minds of your people, then you don't have the population, you don't have the leaders, you don't have people to run your government. We will be looking up to our very neighboring country to provide all people to help us with our management. That's going to happen. Many of our youth will end up into rehabilitation centers. Many of them will be ending to, like in Africa, mostly in Liberia, we cage our mentally deranged people that, they are not lucky, they are not mentally healthy. We cage them, right? This is what we do. We cage them. So we don't provide them real medication for them. We cage them. So most of them end up in our backyards. We put food in those plates and give it to them. So he's crazy man. We don't care for him. Instead of get helped, they call you crazy people. You see a lot of mentally disabled people or deranged people around in our country. They're all being in the street. When you talk about Catherine Mills Rehabilitation Center, where is it today? You don't have it anymore. So those are things that have been government. I don't know where Ellen rehabilitated us. I don't know if somebody has an idea, but Ellen came out with this center where to help the people. It did not happen. If it happened, it was on a slow pace. So we will have a serious issue, but it will take our time to heal them. It will take our years to put it together. But if the government make it as a priority, there's a way out of it. Our people will be it will be well done. It will have a success story at the end, I believe, and the population will get better and better and better. This is what happened in these countries, like where we are now today. Their governments have issues of, if you go to places here now, you stay happy where even if you have issue with your missus, your madam, your wife, or your husband, they call you for counseling. Sometimes it could be from all the counseling centers because the system in place. Can someone put that system in place in our country? So this is what we're talking about, proper leadership. George Weah did not do it the first 6 years. It's impossible he can do it when he began. They call it lame duck president. You know what's a lame duck president? He's not running again to be president. So what he's doing now is sit there and receive and consume and then smoke booger for us. That is what we're going to do.
Okay. Talking about this, the after effect of these drugs, or even the present effect of this drug, it also reminds me of, the breaking news that we had a few days where we heard that there was a consignment of substance arrested at the RRA, and that was actually days back. And then after some days, when this discovery was made, it came to light, and again the story changed instantly, that it wasn't drugs, but it was some leaves, some tea. I know I forgot the name of that thing. Some leaves. So the question is, do we really see an end to stopping this kind of thing happening in the country where, we see a government, certain government, constitutionally elected, with all a mandate to protect our borders, the citizens. Yeah, it's called Maringo, Maringa or Maringo, something like that. Thank you, Merula. But like I was saying, a situation where we see a constituted government that was elected by the people to protect them under the constitution. And this president took oath that almost every quarter of a year, every 3/4 of a year, there will be something about drugs, something about illegal substance, something, just things that could be easily avoided if we have a system in place. Because we run international airport. That's why they call it the Roberts International Airport. That means we meet all of the standards of airport. We have the security system in place. We have the checking system where no goods supposed the immigration system in place. Okay, the customs system in place, that no goods supposed to enter our country unaccounted for. And airport is not like group of people walking where I will just grab my bag and put on my head and start walking, join the crowd and come. No. If I'm traveling from Norway to go to Liberia, I must take plane from Norway. My baggages should be checked at the airport of departure, and wherever I transit, if the transit arrangement so requires that my baggages have to be reloaded, they will be rechecked again and loaded onto the next plane to my final destination. So when I get to my final destination, they will not say, "Oh no, because they were checking Norway, and then he was checking maybe Sri Lanka. So now he coming to Liberia, let him just go." No, they will also check me out. So I don't understand how these drugs enter. Now I did ship and port management, right?
Linford.
At every port, every consignment that you see coming from across the world coming to your port, okay, there is a consignee and there's a consignor. Somebody who's sending the goods and somebody who is receiving it. And before that good leaves, they have to know the authority at the departure port. We have to have a bill of lading with all of the information, whether that one pair of shoes are sending, the specification, everything will be there. And there is something called supply chain visibility, that whatever information I have at this port of certain commodity that is going to Liberia should be visible to all of the actors at the port of departure and to the port of final destination. So that port of final destination will have a copy of the bill of lading, okay, and all other necessary custom documents. They know what's coming and from who and who will receive it. So how these drugs come to our country, then they say they arrested and they start going around looking for people who's supposed to be the owner or who's supposed to be the sender. I don't understand. So it said that we are substandard? Are we not up to the task? What's happening to us? You're silent, Jima.
Yeah, Lifa, you hear me now?
Mm.
Okay. You know what you're saying here, in a civilized society, where people want something, changes to take place, those things happen. Where somebody is doing a well-organized crime, yeah? And I'm telling you, those at the top, they are responsible for making those arrangements. And people at the various airports or various port of entry into that country, they are part of that deal. It's a big cartel. We look like the normal drugs thing happening around here. What do? You just walk to the country. Someone will tell you, we'll package. I'm telling you a story right now. We'll give you the Jamal, deliver this good to Liberia for me. You don't touch anything. We'll prepare your baggage, put in the plane, pay for your ticket. Just make sure your name on it, but you'll be on something. You don't know what is in there. I've been paying money to get it to deliver to Liberia. But someone at the airport will receive it on my behalf. I'm not touching anything though. My name on it, I don't know what was packed in there, but I've been asked to deliver the goods, pay for my ticket, book the ticket from Manchester. I'm going to Liberia. I'm going to Brussels or Raw Air Morocco. Then they put it. There's somebody at the airport will collect my goods, pull it onto that stuff. And do you know now? You're talking about all those shipment agreement regulations you're talking about. This is how they do it. Then they put someone on that plane. Put on that plane. The guy who work at the airport work at that plane, make sure that the stuff is being properly arranged, packed well, and get onto the cargo plane. Get to Liberia at the airport. Somebody at the airport works at that airport. We receive that package, and I'm going to go.
Before you go ahead, let me ask you, what about the departure port? Are they also working in cooperation with somebody there?
I'm just telling you, I didn't know why you even telling me, Jamal, I'm paying you way to go to Liberia to deliver the package. I don't know what is in there, but I'll pay you this money to get delivered to Liberia because I'm a Liberian. I got a Liberian passport. But do you know we got somebody to take those stuff from you? You don't need to touch anything. Don't touch anything. Don't just walk through the airport, go and check in. We'll put the stuff. You're not even touch. You don't know what bag you're carrying, but you're carrying something to Liberia. You don't Liberia. We don't know what bag you carry. Somewhere at the airport, at Manchester Airport, where I live at the moment, we at the airport, we arrange your package, put it on the airplane that I'm going on. If I'm making a transit in Brussels, somewhere already in Brussels, we're going to make sure that goods is well checked. It's not being cross-checked by customs who nobody sees it. All the sniffing dogs can go around it. And that person will make sure his job is done to get it back into the connecting flight. Then he get to Liberia. Where the problem is if I've been trailed, or tailed from Manchester, they will pick me up, because if somebody kind of gave them information like, if somebody's coming, where you dress this one, this is a college dress, you come with that goods, this is the baggage. When the baggage come up, don't let him come out of the airport, pick him up. But once that information has not leaked, somebody will be at the airport in Monrovia, RIA will receive the goods, take it through. He works there. I will just walk through the checkpoint or the check, put my passport through. Welcome home. Thank you very much. That's all. I've not touched. I don't know when I deliver. So someone will be there, and someone will be there already at the cargo area receiving that particular package that I deliver. That package. So this is the how it goes.
I think judging from what you said, the only part where I have more questions would be the port of departure, right? Because like in Europe here, everything must pass through the proper channel. But if it is arranged at the port of departure in such a way that there is somebody at that port who the people in Liberia have contact with, that arrange these things unknown to the person who is bringing it, just put in the person's name and let them and put on the flight for you to come, then I will agree. But when it comes to Liberia, I do not trust in the system, the airport system. I do not trust in that. And why do I say so? I'll give you a story. In 2004, 2014 and 2016, that was the first time I went to Liberia after some years. So, but I tried to evaluate between the 2 years, whether it was 2014 or 2016, but one of those trips. I traveled by Air Morocco. And from Morocco, there were some Moroccans that got on a flight to Liberia. And when we got to Liberia, I actually forgot my camera on the flight. So when we came to the immigration, to the checking out, then I discovered I forgot my flight. So one of those security boys, security or immigration boys, right to the airport, he said, I forgot my flight. So I can carry you back because you wanted something. So then there was a chief, immigration chief, who was supposed to be sitting in his office, but you were also outside. I don't know for what. And then he said, "But what the man from Norway? Let me see the man passport." Say, "Oh, give me the man passport." So they took my passport and gave it to the man. Then he said, "When you come in my office." So he carried my passport in his office. Then the other security guy escorted me back to the plane. And luckily for me, when we got to the plane, the girls that went in to clean the plane, they had just found the camera. So the security guy said, "Anybody found camera?" The other guy said, "Yeah, the camera." So that I was lucky I got my camera, because they should have hidden it and said they didn't find it anyway. So we came back. When we came back, then we went to the immigration guy office. The line is there. People were checking out, showing their passport and things. But my passport was of interest to this guy, the immigration chief, simply because I come from somewhere called Norway. So when we went in the office, he said, "My man, Norway, we know about you get money." So I saw this guy from Morocco, and there was another Moroccan guy who was carrying this guy from Morocco. This Moroccan guy, I understand he got a big supermarket in Habel, somewhere in Habel, smell notice. So when I was in the office with the three of them, there were three Moroccans, the man who lives in Liberia and the two other guys he brought. So I was there. I didn't say the same because my passport was there. Then I heard them talking. The immigration commander there was telling the guy, say, my man, where's your passport? Then this Moroccan guy who has a supermarket in Liberia, he supposedly know the system. He said, my man, when that passport you can use, that passport will eat or you want your lating. The man ain't get nothing, man. I mean, ain't with me. I mean, probably man. So just your lating, no go. The man will be with me. They will be working with me. Can you imagine? Somebody who come from Morocco, then somebody will bring him and tell my immigration head at that airport that just get your eating and let it people go. So that whole thing, even overshadow mountain or passport something. So the guy said, my man, you know me, but you can do something. The minimum I have was $20. So then the question was, the guy who helped me to get my camera and the immigration chief who I'll get the $20 to. So I said, you know what I mean? I said, my man, I will chief you. So yeah, they need to get. Then the chief said, okay, I'll take care of it, man. You just go. I had to get my camera and my passport and I left. So I left there and the three Moroccans there. So imagine. So what you're saying, I see sense in it. It's very easy at our port, the Rabos International Airport, for anything to pass there. You can even carry whole Moa. You can carry jet bomber in the airport. As long as you let a garden eat, they will let it go out. But my concern is the port of departure, where they do all this checking.
Yeah, but this is.
I'll tell you say muted, Jima. I'll tell you something just before you come in. You see, drug transport is not something that take direct route because they need to trace it. If a drug is coming from Colombia, it will go, maybe it will go end way in China. From China, it will come back to South America somewhere. Then from there, it will go to Europe. From Europe, it will go back to America. Then from America, it go to, because they make it complicated. That will be hard to trace. So drugs is not like coming from Norway straight to Liberia. No, it's very difficult. It can happen, but very suddenly. I mean, huge quantity, like what they arrested like a few months back, $140 million cooking. That it doesn't take direct route. It got to go from country to country so that they will dilute the route, the routing, so that if you want to trace it, it will not be easy. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, do you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
You hear me loud and clear? Am I coming through?
Yeah, you are loud and clear. Good afternoon, Muna. Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. I would just want to remind most of our people that are listening or following right now, you can catch it on our online radio, 247 you can also get it from your app store and also get it from Google Play Store. Anyway, link for with regard to what you're talking about. You see, all those little things are happening, crossing exchange of high of cash in hands with the security officers or those who mine our very port of entries. It has to do with what they received. Right. If I'm getting, look at how much they pay me reach him in Liberia. You can, some of the guys pay for $100 a month. $100 a month. And they don't even receive those money. They don't get them. Yeah. And you expect them, well, I'll call my drugs. I want to come to Liberia. I give that guy $500 to get it through that country. It's not a huge temptation. Don't forget about all the arrangement. I tell you, man, don't open that, don't touch that suitcase. I'm a diplomat. I'm passing through. My brother, let it go. Gee, what you got now? Oh, you don't touch it, you got to pay heavy because he's hungry. You know that his children are sitting there for a couple of weeks, have not gone to school. His wife, lovely wife, is at home and with kids have not eaten for days because he's waiting for that $100 that was not paid by the government. After you do harmonization, the man are taking 150, you do harmonization, the man taking 80, you still can't get his money. They telling me when I'm at the port, somebody gave me $500 to pass that back, and you telling me I should let it declare that. You think there will be any patriotism or honesty in that thing? You tell me. So Liberia is the people, it has to do with what you receive. If your staff are not well paid, and they are tempted, easily it's going to go. What make corruption to be heavy? What corruption to be rampant, to be passive or pervasive in our country? because, or we can't get epidemic is pandemic, because we are not properly paid. They are underpaid, and there are many loopholes you can get in there. They got a good governance commission came out with some other code of conduct process or regulations where staff, government officials, civil servants can get better pay, so they won't be looking at another, cold water, what you call, or clean the table. But those things were not implemented. $100 I was paid. And he said, let's harmonize because budget things are tight. We got shortfall in budget. We'll bring it down to $80. Fine, chief. If that will go for the country, I'm fine with that. I don't have any option. But I can get mine at $80 at the end of the month. My wife is telling me I'm working. I leave home, go work, come back, borrow money to pay my way. Before the end of the month, I've already gone $80 in transport costs. Then I take another 3 months to get that $80 as my pay. Then I'm tempted at the airport to receive $500 just in the next 5 minutes. And I expect to get out every week $500 for a baggage to get into the country. I don't care what is in that bag. You see how it goes? This is the reality of life. While we're looking at the system is bad, this is where it is. In Europe or organized structure, in Europe or organized structure, those are criminal gangs. That has nothing to do with their life status or their living standard. They just want to get rich quick. The system is there to make sure they infiltrate, but they are doing everything possible to stop them. But those guys are ahead of the officers. The criminals are far ahead of the law. You know that. But in Liberia, the system is so vulnerable, you can penetrate anyway, anyhow, because of the system I've just explained. I was getting 150. You say, let's harmonize. Harmonize me. They cut your salary. We'll put in somewhere else so other Liberians can benefit. But now I can't get my $80, you cut it off. I mean, the other rest you cut off, I can't get my $80, you promise you're going to get me. I've been doing it for the past 3 months, and somebody gave me $500 every day. I can get a bag of, I don't know what the hell in that bag. This is the situation, my brother. That's the reality.
Okay, but it also depends on the mindset of the people, where we have, can I say, legalized corruption to the point where it doesn't seem like corruption to us again. We consider it as part of the society, as part of the norms, that yes, we got to do it. It's acceptable. And in corruption, there are two people. There is a double party, the giver and the receiver. Okay. Now, then the second part of that is, in the absence of proper punishment, people will not be afraid to do certain things. No. There are certain things, certain countries in Asia. You see Japan, and you see Singapore. Those are countries in Asia that you don't just play around easily. If you are corrupt, you let to give bribe, do not play around Singapore. The same thing in Japan. Now, Liberia, like you rightly said, people not getting enough money, they're not even getting it on time when they work. That alone is a greater temptation to want to drive anybody to receive bribes, to get involved in corruption, and so forth. But again, if we had a strong punitive measures rather, that if no matter how hungry I am, if I was given a bribe and I took it, especially at that highest level where I have to let certain banned goods, certain contrabands enter the country, if I am caught, I will be penalized, probably go to jail for lifetime or die or something. You think I want to risk it? Yes, few people will risk it. Okay, because human beings are human beings. Few people will risk it, but I think it will be minimized. But again, the next question somebody will ask me is, who's supposed to put in the punitive measures when it is the federal government that is supposed to be giving this punitive measure involved, or it is the same government that is a benefactor or beneficiary of this whole criminal system? Who should set a standard for who to follow? You see, so I think it's a deep mess that the country found itself in, and I don't know, because the only way out is if we have a good justice system, criminal justice system where criminals are punished. Japan, if you do something wrong, if you're a manager, you cause that company to break down, you kill yourself because you don't want to live with that shame. Your family don't want to see what happened to yourself. You got to kill yourself. Now, nobody got to tell you to do it. You do it automatically. I remember a couple of years back, one of these car producers, the manager had to kill himself because these cars came with fault and they were sold all over the world, and then they have to record them because of technical fault, and that was a big failure on that company. The guy executed himself to to finish everything. So if I take that position to succeed that guy, you think I'll do any mess? No. Flo.
Linfo. Okay. Listen, I get you, but the thing is, you also understand that you can hold somebody responsible for not being honest and they're afraid to be punished. You punish somebody if you are not creating a situation. If you are the cause of that situation, why will you punish somebody? Your hand is in a cookie jar. You just said that. And if you put a structure in place where I'll get better pay, or look after, then why would I be tempted? They won't be doing justice to do taking those money, because you have to put a structure in place where I'll get benefits, the benefit you promised me, the little money you promised you're going to give me at the end of the month, I receive them. I'm not encouraging, I'm not glorifying corruption.
Yeah, wait. Get me where you follow, you go forward. I'm not stopping you, but you talk about if the person is getting good pay. So what about our lawmakers who has set their own salary scale? Nobody can reduce it, nobody can increase it. They're getting all that money, but still they pass bogus agreements, try to get caught. Corruption is part of them. That's a mindset I was talking about.
No, I'm looking at the drug side. We'll go to the total corruption. I'm looking at why the drugs being, infiltrating or flux into our country. There's an influx of drugs into our country, which is having a health and safety issue. My problem is this: I saying that we need to put, if you have to find solutions, we have to have a standard. But then every infrastructure or every agency that involved in there has to be effective. The Ministry of Justice, the implementing arms, the law enforcement arm of the government, it was the Ministry of Justice, should be doing a job, and also their hands should not be in a cookie jar. And the people that are at the other end, the receiving end, should be able to be paid as promised and look after as promised. Then, if somebody is caught, all the punitive measures you're talking about, there's a need to put into place. But you're not paying them well. Their salaries or their wages are delayed. And you expect them to be very honest. And when they're tempted with money, and you also they're not enjoying their kids, their family members are being hospitalized. You don't have money to pay for their bills. You don't have a good healthcare delivery system in the country. When your people get sick, you carry them abroad for treatment. Your kids are traveling abroad for study and holidays. I'm living on $80 a month. They expect me to be very honest when I'm getting something like 500 under the table. How was that work? So the thing is, what we are saying here is that we need to start from somewhere. If you tell people you need to be honest and be patriotic with our country, you need to set the pace. You need to set the standard. The standard is put a system in place that everybody can be accountable to. Not like the law applies to only few people, because you are at the receiving end. The law applies to me, so it won't be fair for me. So the point of punishing people will not be a fair justice when they are at the other end and not getting paid. So the government need to understand that all the big mouth, all the government officials that are saying that we are working on corruptions, we are working on the the drug issue in the country. That all we know, all of them are playing lip service to this cause. They are causing more trouble for us than we ourselves, because the people around and the youth, the disadvantaged youth, who saying that they have not been looked after, they are not being well rehabilitated, put into training camps, put into vocational schools. So the facility, when Georgia took power, Linfo, what he told them, we will not be stranger in our own country, right? We will not be foreigners in our own country. We will not be sitting and what we should be benefiting will be given to foreigners. He said that over and over, and he was talking straight into the eyes of the youth. The youth today are unfortunately, the living zombies we have in our country. You've seen it. I mean, it's reality. There are living zombies in the country. It's sad enough, very sad. Most of us have directly or indirectly been affected with this drug issue. Every home in our country, some kind of, it has a negative impact. The children turn to drugs, they got no hope. They're hopeless. Children are the people in Liberia are hopeless. But now they are voting because they have no choice. So they think like, well, I don't know Mr. Cummings, but then you shouldn't know him. You didn't know George. He spent 3.5 years in the Senate, they didn't do anything for you. He already spent another 6 years, has done nothing for you. So if you're voting, who are you causing the problem for? Mr. Barker was there for 12 years. He sat in the back. He said he put in a garage, or you call it in Liberia. He was a moving car, a racing car. If you put a fast speed car in the garage, you not do anything, you got dusted. So he already dusted and rusted. And you want to come back and clean when he's 83 years old. He's 83 years old. Can't even remember the year of his country, the time. I mean, how old is Liberia at the moment? The woman is losing memory. And we stay saying that whether if you die in a wheelchair, we stay put into power. You see, that the mentality we have. But I'm telling you something, Linfo, those are election songs. But Liberians are not stupid, Linfo. They will vote their hearts out, except somebody temper without elections. But okay, this is going to be one of the well-contested elections in Liberia.
Well, we actually will be closing 2-3 minutes time. But I think you struck a good point, Jima. The elections in Liberia, the particular election will be very interesting. The fact is, there are several things that will give rise to the carefulness that the international community vis-a-vis the US and all our countries that are partners to Liberia will take notice of. So if you look at West Africa, in less than 2-3 years time, we have had so many military coups. And why are those coups happening in our neighboring countries? You think they want to suffer? No, they don't want to suffer in the first place. And that's why they want to move bad governments that sit over them. Okay? So I remember a few months back, the US President Joe Biden, they called few West African countries in which they'll be having elections in this particular year, call their leaders together. And what they talked there, what they didn't talk there, they were in this whole bush. What they said, what they didn't say, we that outside, we didn't know. But I know the US being a democratic nation, they gave signals to those leaders that were called, whose countries will be having elections. Now, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea and a few other countries were invited. Now, I don't think Guinea was invited. I think it was after the coup. But Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria were invited. And 2 of those countries have had their elections. And what happened? Those elections ended up in chaos. Nigeria, for example, the case is staying in court. Tinubu has not been formally decided by the court to be, or the Supreme Court to be the...
for your information, the decision is out. He's won the election. So
okay, he's won the election, but it took some time to go through the process. And Sierra Leone, I was just watching a video today where the people are protesting for bad governance. And Malabio's election was it's still being seen by some people as not being fair. So now we've come to Liberia. So I think the international community will handle this whole election with care. And if anybody tries to do anything funny, I think they will be easily picked up.
Rig the election, you mean?
The Liberian election.
To rig the election, you mean?
Yeah, to rig the election or to disrupt the process. anything anybody want to do, contrary to a peaceful election, I think that will not be welcomed by the citizens themselves, one, and two, by the international community. And if you look at the wave of coups in West Africa, these are things that should make any sitting government afraid to want to do the right thing by the people. Because if you mess up, no country is immune. I hear that nonsense when people say, oh, I hear that nonsense people talking that, oh, we'll fight war for 14 years, so the people are not ready for that bullshit, that lie. Anything can happen anytime. In fact, I'm not encouraging anything, but me, I let us say my mind. Long time ago, when people had not for war, somebody would say, "Oh, the Liberian people scared to go."
No, let me hold you there. I know we got much time. All right, I quite interesting. Just tracking the point I like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the suffering goes too much, you call for unconstitutional change. That's what you're asking for now.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, that's so bad.
Yeah. Because if you suffer the people so much, let me tell you, we fought war for 14 years. We graduated from that. So our expectations are that we will now have better life because we'll look behind us and say, look, we came from this suffering for 14 years.
The question I'm going to ask you we're not calling for any unconstitutional change here.
No.
I know you're not calling for that, but do you know the consequences of such a thing? If the government, any country for that matter, look what happened in the sub-region right now. Those guys taking years to put themselves together. They run the country by decrees. And the next 2-3 years, they try to organize themselves, remove those uniform and become citizens and run the country. And the next 3-4 years, that country, though, there's no stability. I'm telling you, because they're military, they don't have nothing of governance. They don't know how to run the country. Complete chaos.
Okay, but let me also ask you, where you have a country like ours, a constitutional country like ours, where the government is elected, but doing even worse than the military government that you're thinking about. Now, listen. Liberia for war.
I will tell you what I think. You know what happened in Begwe, where the people came on the street, they say they didn't put risk their lives, went out there and demonstrated against the constitutional government and it was removed and the government came to power instead of the military took over. Because that's a change. Military coming another 3 to 4 years before they organize themselves to get the power. They rob the country, and they don't know what they're doing. They're from the barracks.
Wait, listen, you see, no. I don't want to sound like I support military coup. I was 1980 coup. I saw it. I was big boy. 1980 coup. I saw it. I know what happened. How our country changed from
3-4 years before the guys turned the point to civilian rule.
But the point I'm trying to make here. Listen to my point.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to make is let me just make a disclaimer first or clarify this. I'm not supporting any military takeover.
We said that.
But I'm giving circumstances that can lead to those things very easily. Okay, and how easily it can be done if these circumstances prevail. Now, a long time ago, when after the 1980 coup, we know how the country changed from what it used to be to what it is now. Then the war came and even made it worse. So it is understood that every Liberian, including me and you and our leaders, people who are in power now, should know where we came from and what we should do not to repeat similar thing. Okay, now. You talk about military taking over and then the country will go by and it will take a long time for the guys to put us. So compare it to where you have a civilian government that was elected by the same people, but they are even living worse life than under a military regime. So what do you think will happen?
Okay, let me tell you something. Under the civilian government, there's a massive difference where you can argue case in the Senate, in the House. They may not listen, but you got a right to go out there and argue a case. You got a right to demonstrate, unlike the civilian government. Unlike the military leadership. And the juntas, whoever the coup plotters, can put themselves, 5 good guys who have played, planned our coup, and when they succeed, they'll come and say, tomorrow in the morning, wake up from sleep and tell you what the tomorrow look like for you. They come with a decree. I
agree. I know it. We passed through it. We left it.
That's a restricting the rights of the people.
Yeah, but my thing here is the reason I'm saying this is that our government should not give the cause to our people to want to even think that direction. You see, because let me tell you,
I got your point.
The reason why people elect governments is for them to do the right thing for the people. But in a constitution, it says chapter 1, Okay, Article 1, where it say the power is in the people's hand. So if they give you their power and then you misuse it against them, they can want to take it back. And the Constitution did not specify how you can get that power back. Or the power that the people got, the Constitution did not specify how they can use it. It says you have the power, you can use it to remove and replace your government. So if they tell the people your mood, like you talk about people going to their representatives and their senators and talk, you talk. In fact, the black again, they say, you saw a guy or
At least you can, at least you can do something. But in the military rule, you can't do anything. They'll do in the morning, they run the country the way they want to run it because the whole constitution
then listen, you see, this is where I come in. What is the difference of what they got Leroy Pompom setting himself on fire for something that was not right, and he's crippled for a lifetime today, but still it's put doing the same thing, even worse. What is the use of another guy? What is this guy called? He went and you are demonstrating, and the security will have to drag him on the asphalt for meters away.
I know you're speaking out of desperation right now. Yeah. I understand that. Well, I mean, I know that you don't support military coups.
I do not at all.
All right. What we need to understand here is like, there'll be a big difference between a military coup and a civilian coup with that of the people we have it right now, where you say, well, it's a little leadership, just by nomenclature, it's a elected leadership. In essence, they are worse than the military leaders. But my worry is, and what I'm trying to tell you right now, and anybody can say the same thing or can agree with me. The military coming to power takes another years to put themselves together, put the country back, all the years. And what happened? You lose a lot of. If a job your own is even better,
I agree.
You lose a lot of investors.
I agree 100%.
I agree 100%. But
I was actually trying to explain something before that part of the discussion came in. That the reason why this elections in Liberia will be important to the international community is that because of the wave of coups taking part in West Africa, and the reason why those coups are taking place in the first place is bad governance. So the international the international community will make sure that these elections are fair and that nobody will tamper with it. Okay. So the part where I talk about the coups is that the people those countries that are doing a coup, they don't want to catch harder. Nobody will say, I want to catch harder, so I will do coup. But when you look at it, the federal governments that they overthrowing, those are governments, some of them came to power by coup. And besides that, when they came, they made the constitution in place. The constitution says you can be there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, giving which country. And then after those terms are over, then they change the constitution in their own favor. So that is a coup by itself against the people. That is a government planning coup against its own citizens. So what's wrong if the citizens turn around and say, "Oh, we're moving you by force through our military"? It's the same. But not that I support it. I think our time is over. So just give your parting comment and then we can wrap up and get out of here.
Yeah, we want to say a big thank you to those who follow us. Every time we come on, we're always on the Borderline Online Radio as well. You can always download it on your apps store and also on your Google Play Store. 247, we're on live, and also we follow political events in Liberia at the moment. Sometimes we will not have the chance to come on the platform to speak, and we'll be putting it through so you can follow us on that end. We also have we are both on we are on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram. So every time the Borderline is here, we're going to be here after the election anyway. We promise to. This is going to be a European platform. We're going to do whatever we do. Despite partisan politics, we'll bring the issues in Europe and also in Liberia alive right on this platform. And I want to say a big thank you to those who joined us for the 1.5 hour here. And my name has been Jamal Kamara, based in Manchester, United Kingdom. Thank you very much for following. Have a pleasant evening.
Thanks a lot, Jamal. And we'll be back here on Friday, and we hope that you can join us, and we hope we can have another good discussion at that time. But just a disclaimer, the bottom line, for the bottom line, we are not encouraging any forceful takeover. And what I said, I'm responsible for what I said, and I can explain myself. I am saying that the reason why coups are taking place around West Africa is because of bad governance, and we do not want any bad governance in Liberia, and that's why these elections or these elections will be very crucial and that the international community will be paying keen attention to. Thanks a lot and have a nice day. This is how we
There are 5 priorities we have, and we call that the what's. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, it's electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people. So after job creation, our next priority is agriculture. We are a country, after 170 years, that do not feed ourselves. Last year alone, we imported over 160 million United States dollars in rice import, and total food imports was over $280 million. These are things we can do for ourselves. We should be producing rice to feed ourselves, and my commitment is that by the end of my first term in office, we will be